The declaration of war. Emerges empire. The galaxy had always feared Earth. For centuries, the Galactic Council ruled the stars, an alliance of thousands of alien species who believed in order, control, and balance. To them, Earth was a growing problem. Too unpredictable, too ambitious, and too dangerous. When humanity first reached the stars, the Council had ignored them. Primitive, they had called the humans, a young species with no real power. But humanity grew, faster than anyone expected. They built ships that moved like lightning. They colonized barren planets and turned them into thriving worlds. Their technology evolved at a pace that terrified the old empires of the galaxy. And worst of all, humans never surrendered. The warning. The message arrived in every corner of Earth at once. Every screen flickered. Every broadcast stopped. A cold, alien voice echoed across the planet. Humans of Earth, your time is over. By order of the Galactic Council, you are to surrender immediately. If you resist, we will wipe you out. In the United Earth Assembly, world leaders stood frozen. The President of Earth, Elias Carter, tightened his fists. Around him, generals and admirals stared at the message in shock. Admiral Sarah Voss, the commander of Earth's space fleet, broke the silence. They're serious. This isn't a warning. It's a declaration of war. A holographic image appeared in the center of the war room. A tall, golden-skinned alien, wearing ceremonial robes, stared down at them. High Chancellor Vorik, the leader of the Galactic Council. Earth's reckless expansion threatens the balance of the galaxy, Vorik announced. You are a disease that spreads unchecked. You will surrender your weapons, your colonies, and your independence. President Carter's voice was firm. And if we refuse? Vorik's expression darkened. Then you will burn. The sky turns dark. The attack began before Earth could respond. Across the solar system, massive alien warships appeared out of hyperspace, hundreds of them. The largest, the dreadnought Judgment, positioned itself over Earth's orbit. It was a ship so massive that it blocked out the sun over parts of the planet. Then came the first strike. Energy beams rained down from the sky. New York, London, Beijing, Tokyo. Within minutes, entire districts were reduced to ash. Millions died before the first alarm could be raised. Panic spread like wildfire. Civilians ran through the streets, trying to escape the destruction. The air was filled with sirens, the cries of the wounded, and the endless roar of explosions. In Earth's defense headquarters, General Eric Stanton slammed his fists onto the table. They're not giving us a chance. They want us dead. President Carter turned to Admiral Voss. What are our options? The Admiral's face was grim. We have a chance, but it's small. The orbital defense platforms are online. If we time our counterattack right, we can hit them before they wipe us out completely. Carter nodded. Then we fight. Humanity's answer. Across Earth's orbit, hidden inside the dark side of the moon, Earth's secret weapon waited. The Aegis Defense Network. Hundreds of automated turrets and missile platforms, built in secret, came to life. The trap was sprung. Lasers, missiles, and kinetic weapons tore through the enemy fleet. Several Council warships exploded instantly, their shields unable to withstand Earth's unexpected firepower. Aboard the Judgment, High Commander Selvig, leader of the invasion force, was caught off guard. They were supposed to be primitive. How are they fighting back? On Earth, fighter squadrons launched from hidden underground bases, weaving through enemy formations, striking wherever they could. Human pilots were outnumbered, but not outmatched. As the battle raged, Dr. Renzo Cade, Earth's top scientist, stared at his computer screen in shock. He had intercepted an alien transmission, a secret message from the Galactic Council itself. It wasn't just about war. It was about fear. The secret behind the war. Dr. Cade's hands trembled as he read the decrypted message. The Council wasn't attacking Earth because of its expansion. They were attacking because humanity was evolving. Humans were changing at an unnatural rate. Their intelligence, adaptability, and resilience were unlike any species before them. The Council had studied this for decades, and they came to a terrifying conclusion. If left unchecked, humanity would surpass every race in the galaxy. They weren't here to conquer Earth. They were here to stop what humanity would become. Dr. Cade rushed to the war room, barely able to breathe. He knew what this meant. If humanity survived this war, they wouldn't just be another race in the galaxy. They would be its rulers. The rise of an empire begins. Back in the war room, President Carter's voice was clear. We were never going to be given a choice. This isn't just war. This is extermination. General Stanton nodded. Then we don't just fight to survive. Admiral Voss finished his sentence. We fight to win. The room fell silent. Then Carter spoke the words that would change history. No more waiting. No more kneeling. Today, humanity stands. And tomorrow. He looked out at the sky, where the battle raged on. We rise. The war had begun. And so had the birth of an empire. The first strike. The war had begun. And Earth was bleeding. Alien warships loomed over the planet like harbingers of death, their weapons tearing through cities, leaving behind nothing but smoke and ruins. The Galactic Council had not come to negotiate. They had come to erase humanity from existence. But humanity was not ready to die. In the depths of Earth's last strongholds, soldiers, scientists, and leaders worked frantically, trying to turn the tide against a superior enemy. If they were going to fall, they would fall fighting. The sky burns. Above Earth, the Aegis defense network continued its relentless assault. Automated railguns, laser cannons, and missile systems hammered the enemy fleet, destroying dozens of alien warships. But for every enemy ship that fell, more appeared. The Council's fleet was endless, stretching across the void like a swarm of locusts. Humanity was outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Inside Earth's primary command center, Admiral Sarah Voss analyzed the battle through the holographic display. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with determination. We can't win this battle in space. If we stay defensive, they'll crush us. General Eric Stanton slammed his fist on the table. Then what do you suggest? We don't have the firepower for a counteroffensive. President Elias Carter turned to Dr. Renzo Cade, the scientist who had decrypted the intercepted alien message. Tell me you have something, Cade. Dr. Cade swallowed hard. I don't have good news. The Council isn't just here to wipe us out. They're afraid of us, of what we might become. Carter's expression darkened. They fear us. Yes, and that means we have one advantage. They don't know what we're fully capable of. Asterisk, asterisk. The counterattack begins. The Council fleet continued its relentless bombardment, but Earth's hidden defenses struck back with brutal efficiency. Satellite-controlled drones launched from underground bunkers, speeding into orbit and colliding with enemy ships in deadly kamikaze attacks. Meanwhile, Earth's first-generation orbital warships, long dismissed as outdated, launched their first true battle. They were smaller than the Council's dreadnoughts, but faster, more maneuverable, and piloted by humans who refused to lose. Commander Jack Reynolds, leading the UES Retribution, dodged through a hail of plasma fire, his voice calm as he relayed orders to his squadron. Hit them where they least expected. If you see an opening, take it. Don't stop moving. The human fleet struck hard, launching concentrated attacks on enemy supply ships and command centers. Several key Council vessels exploded, sending debris raining down toward Earth's atmosphere. But the enemy still had one final weapon, the Doomsday device. Deep in space, a massive station activated a hidden superweapon, a planetary disruptor capable of destabilizing Earth's core. The device, called the Harbinger, was the Galactic Council's insurance policy. If Earth refused to surrender, they would simply tear the planet apart. Inside the command center, Alarms blared as technicians detected the energy buildup. In less than 1 hour, the weapon would fire. President Carter's heart pounded. "We have to destroy that station, or Earth is finished." Admiral Voss nodded. "I'll send every ship we have left." Dr. Cade interrupted, his eyes wide. "You don't have to. We have something better." Carter turned to him. "What are you talking about?" Cade's voice was shaky but determined. "Project Revenant." Silence fell over the war room. Project Revenant was Earth's last, most dangerous secret, a weapon so powerful that even humanity feared using it. Carter exhaled sharply. "We weren't supposed to activate it unless there was no other option." Voss's voice was cold. "We don't have any other options." Carter closed his eyes, then gave the order. "Launch Project Revenant." The war had just changed, and for the first time, the Galactic Council was about to be afraid. Humanity's last stand begins. The order had been given. Project Revenant was unleashed. Deep beneath the frozen wastelands of Antarctica, massive underground doors rumbled open. The ground trembled as a hidden war fleet, one that had been built in secret for years, began its ascent. These were not ordinary ships. They were Earth's first true warships, designed with stolen alien technology, advanced human engineering, and weapons powerful enough to challenge the Council's strongest fleets. And leading them was the most dangerous weapon of all, the Titan. The rise of the Titan. The Titan-class warship, codenamed Revenant, was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Twice the size of any Council dreadnought. Faster, smarter, deadlier. Powered by a revolutionary dark matter core, the Revenant was the culmination of everything humanity had learned from the stars. Stealth systems made it invisible to enemy scanners. Shields were strong enough to withstand planetary bombardment. But its most terrifying feature, a weapon that could destroy an entire fleet in one strike. As the Revenant emerged from Earth's hidden shipyards, the Council fleet noticed too late. Admiral Sarah Voss, now in command of the Revenant, gave the order, "Fire." The Revenant's primary cannon, the Hellfire Lance, ignited. A beam of crimson energy ripped through space, striking the Harbinger, the doomsday station preparing to destroy Earth. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the Harbinger exploded in a blinding burst of fire and debris. The Council had lost their greatest weapon, and now they were afraid. The turning point. Inside the Galactic Council's command ship, High Commander Selvig watched in horror as his forces were suddenly on the defensive. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Humanity was supposed to be weak. They were supposed to fall. Instead, the Council's warships were being torn apart. Council generals screamed over communication channels, calling for reinforcements, but something was wrong. Their ships weren't responding. Selvig's second-in-command, a reptilian officer named Varix, turned to him in panic. "The humans. They've hacked our network. They're shutting down our fleet." Selvig's blood ran cold. They weren't just fighting humans anymore. They were fighting something else. Something evolved. The Shadow Fleet strikes. Unknown to the Council, Earth's greatest minds had been preparing for this moment for years. Cyber warfare divisions had infiltrated the Council's battle network. Now, enemy ships were turning on each other, firing at their own fleets. And then, the final blow came. Out of the darkness of space, Earth's Shadow Fleet appeared. These were stealth warships, built for deep space warfare, equipped with gravity mines, EMP warheads, and disruptor cannons. One by one, Council ships went dark, their systems disabled. Selvig's fleet, once an unstoppable armada, was being dismantled before his eyes. Humanity had lured them into a war they thought they had already won. Now, they were the ones losing. The message to the galaxy. On Earth, President Elias Carter stood before the cameras, broadcasting a message to the entire Galactic Council. His face was bruised, his uniform torn, but his eyes were filled with fire. "You came to erase us. You called us a disease. You thought we would kneel." He took a deep breath, then said the words that would be remembered for centuries. "You were wrong." Behind him, screens showed live footage of Council ships burning in orbit, their forces retreating, their mighty war machine falling apart. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not surrender. If you want to destroy us, you will have to face the full force of our rage, and I promise you this." His voice became deadly. "We will never be your slaves." Then he gave the final command. "Finish them." And across the battlefield, Earth's forces unleashed hell. The truth about the war. The battlefield was burning. The once invincible Galactic Council fleet was in ruins. Their warships, crippled and retreating, could no longer maintain control over Earth's orbit. The humans had fought back harder than anyone expected. But the war wasn't over. Because the truth, the real reason behind this war, was still hidden. And Dr. Renzo Cade had just uncovered it. The secret transmission. Inside Earth's central command bunker, Dr. Cade frantically worked through the alien data he had stolen from the Council's network. His hands trembled as the final encryption fell away. And what he saw made his heart stop. The Council wasn't fighting this war to destroy humanity. They were fighting to prevent what humanity was about to become. Humanity's evolution, a cosmic threat. The decrypted files revealed the horrifying truth. The Council had been studying humans for centuries. Ever since Earth's first contact with alien life, they had monitored every detail. Our technology, our biology, our psychology. And they had discovered something terrifying. Humanity was evolving at an unnatural rate. No species in the galaxy had ever advanced this fast. In just a few thousand years, humans had gone from primitive warriors to space-faring conquerors. Other civilizations took millions of years to achieve what humans had done in centuries. But it wasn't just intelligence. Something inside human DNA was different. Some humans were developing abilities beyond anything seen before: hyperintelligence, extreme resilience, even cases of unexplainable psychic phenomena. If left unchecked, humanity would soon surpass every race in the galaxy. And the Council was afraid. They didn't start this war to destroy Earth's armies. They started it to destroy the future of the human race. The Council's final move. Back in space, High Commander Selvig knew the battle was lost. But he had one last option. As the remnants of his fleet retreated, a hidden command was sent across the Council's encrypted channels. A desperate plan. If they couldn't wipe out humanity now, they would cripple its future. The bioweapon activation. Deep in the void of space, hidden within an abandoned asteroid station, a final Council superweapon came online. A planetary bioweapon designed to target human DNA itself. It was a virus engineered with one purpose: to erase humanity's ability to evolve. To permanently weaken human genetics so that they would never rise beyond their current limits. Once released, it would spread across Earth's atmosphere, infecting every human without a cure. The war wasn't about destruction. It was about ensuring that humanity would never become a threat again. Race against time. Inside Earth's war room, alarms blared. A desperate message flashed across the screens. The bioweapon station was activating. President Carter turned to Admiral Voss. "How long until it fires?" Voss's face was grim. 10 minutes. Carter clenched his fists. "We need to destroy that station. Now." Commander Jack Reynolds, still leading the charge in space, sent a message through the fleet. "All available fighters, follow me. This is our last chance." As the Revenant and the surviving warships turned toward the asteroid, the final battle for humanity's future had begun. The final assault. Reynolds' fleet streaked toward the asteroid station, dodging enemy fire as the last surviving Council warships defended their doomsday weapon. The Revenant spearheaded the attack, blasting through the station's outer defenses. But the countdown continued. 5 minutes. The human fighters weaved through laser fire, striking the station's weak points, but its core remained untouched. 3 minutes. Reynolds' ship was hit, spinning out of control. The mission was failing, until Admiral Voss made the final call. Activate the Hellfire Lance. Full power. Target. The core. Inside the Revenant, energy levels surged dangerously high. The weapons systems weren't designed for this kind of power output. If it fired at full strength, the ship might not survive. But they had no choice. 2 minutes. The Revenant's weapons officer locked onto the target. Admiral Voss's voice was steady. Fire. The Hellfire Lance erupted with a massive beam of energy, cutting through the asteroid like a blade through flesh. The station began to collapse. 1 minute. The core overloaded, a violent explosion shaking the entire battlefield. 30 seconds. The virus was never released. Earth had won. The aftermath. A new future. As the remaining Council forces retreated into the void, Earth stood victorious. But the galaxy would never be the same. President Carter looked out at the ruined battlefield, his voice heavy. We weren't supposed to win this war, but we did. Admiral Voss crossed her arms. Now what? Dr. Cade exhaled. Now, they fear us even more. Carter nodded. Then it's time to show them that humanity doesn't just survive. His gaze turned to the stars, to the endless frontier ahead. We rise. And so, the age of humanity had truly begun. The secret human weapon. The war was over. The Galactic Council's fleet had been shattered. Their doomsday weapon, the bioweapon designed to cripple humanity's evolution, was destroyed. The Council itself had retreated into the depths of space, licking its wounds. But Earth's leaders knew the truth. This was not the end. The war had proven one thing. The galaxy feared humanity, and fear always led to more conflict. The question was no longer if the Council would return. It was when. And so, Earth had a choice. Wait for the next war to come, or prepare for it first. President Elias Carter already knew the answer. We won't wait for them to attack us again. We take the fight to them. And for that, they would need a new weapon, a secret project that had been hidden even from Earth's own people. A weapon designed not just to fight the Council, but to make humanity unstoppable. Project Revenant, the final phase. Project Revenant, the final phase. Deep in a classified research station orbiting Titan, Saturn's largest moon, the next stage of humanity's evolution was already underway. Dr. Renzo Cade, now Earth's most valuable scientist, stood in front of a massive containment chamber. Inside, something pulsed with life. Something not entirely human anymore. Admiral Sarah Voss entered the lab, her arms crossed. Tell me you're not doing what I think you're doing. Dr. Cade didn't look away from the containment chamber. We don't have a choice. Voss stepped forward, glaring at him. We just defeated an enemy 100 times stronger than us. What more do you want? Cade finally turned, his expression grim. You don't get it, Admiral. This was just the beginning. He pulled up a holographic display. The Council isn't just a government. It's a machine. A system that has controlled the galaxy for over 1 million years. We survived their first attack, but they have thousands of other species under their rule. If they unleash everything they have, we won't survive the second war. Voss's eyes narrowed. And your solution is this. She gestured to the chamber. What is this, Cade? The scientist took a deep breath. The next stage of humanity. Inside the chamber, floating in stasis, was a human soldier. Except, it wasn't just human anymore. The dawn of the super soldiers. For years, Earth had been secretly experimenting with genetic enhancements. At first, they were simple, better healing, faster reflexes, but then they went further. Stronger bones, enhanced muscles, faster brain processing. Now, they had reached the limit. This was Project Revenant's final phase, the creation of the first true super soldiers. Voss stared at the figure inside the chamber. It looked human, but the changes were clear. Denser muscles, cybernetic implants fused to the body, and neural enhancements that would allow them to think and react faster than any normal person. It wasn't just a soldier. It was a weapon. Voss shook her head. "You're playing with something dangerous, Cade. You really think this is the answer?" Cade's voice was calm. "The Council fears what we're becoming. We're proving them right. The Shadow Fleet awakens. As Earth's official forces rebuilt after the war, another force was being assembled in secret. They called it the Shadow Fleet, a new armada of stealth warships, advanced eye-controlled battlecruisers, and genetically enhanced super soldiers. These wouldn't just be defenders of Earth. They would be hunters. Their mission was simple: strike before the Council could recover. And their first target? The Council's homeworld. The first infiltration mission. The Council's ruling planet, Prime Nexus, was a fortress. Protected by thousands of defense fleets, planetary shields, and countless ground forces, it was believed to be untouchable. Until now. The Shadow Fleet's first mission was to break into Prime Nexus and steal the Council's most classified intelligence. To do that, they would need the first enhanced human soldiers. And leading the mission would be Commander Jack Reynolds, now the first of the Revenant-class super soldiers. Reynolds sat in the drop pod, checking his gear. His team, 5 other enhanced operatives, did the same. No words were spoken. They knew the risks. They weren't supposed to survive this mission. But if they succeeded, they would change the war forever. As the countdown began, Reynolds took a deep breath. This was no longer about survival. This was about dominance. The turning point. The galaxy had changed. Once, the Galactic Council believed itself invincible. It had ruled for over 1,000,000 years, shaping the fate of countless species. Any civilization that grew too strong was silenced. Any race that refused to kneel was erased. But then came Earth. And Earth did not kneel. Now, humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were taking the war to the Council's doorstep. And tonight, they would strike the heart of the enemy. The Shadow Fleet's infiltration begins. High above Prime Nexus, the Council's capital planet, 6 small stealth ships drifted through the void, completely invisible to enemy sensors. Inside the lead ship, Commander Jack Reynolds adjusted his gear. He was no longer just human. He was the first of the Revenant super soldiers. Faster, stronger, smarter than ever before. His mission: break into the Council's most secure database, find out what they're planning, and if possible, tear them apart from the inside. His squad, 6 enhanced operatives, all modified under Project Revenant, checked their weapons. No one spoke. They didn't need to. The mission was simple: go in unseen, get the data, get out alive. But then, as their ship approached the drop zone, something unexpected happened. A massive energy spike flared across their scanners. The war takes a dark turn. Earth's leaders watched the footage in horror. Dr. Cade's voice was shaking. They'd started their own enhancement program. President Carter's face darkened. They're making their own super soldiers. Admiral Voss tightened her fists. We aren't the only ones evolving. The war was no longer about fleets, planets, or armies. It was about who would become the dominant species in the galaxy. And now, humanity had met its first true rival. The fight for survival continues. Reynolds gritted his teeth, staring down his opponent. His squad was wounded. The enemy was stronger than anything they had faced before. And the Starbreaker weapon was still counting down. They had one chance to win. One chance to stop the Council from wiping out Earth. And so, as the enemy charged, Reynolds activated his final protocol. His vision blurred. His heart pounded like a war drum. And for the first time, he unlocked the full potential of Project Revenant. The aftermath. A new era begins. The battlefield was silent. The air smelled of scorched metal and burnt flesh. Smoke curled from shattered machines and ruined structures. The once great Council spire, the heart of Prime Nexus, lay in ruins. And at its center, surrounded by the wreckage of war, stood Commander Jack Reynolds. Blood dripped from his wounds, his armor scorched and broken. His squad lay behind him, some dead, some barely breathing. But he was still standing. And before him, the last of the enemy knelt in defeat. The death of the Council's champion, the enhanced Council warrior, the first of their super soldier experiments, had been the greatest threat humanity had ever faced. Faster, stronger, nearly indestructible. For the first time, Reynolds had met an opponent who was his equal. And for a moment, it had seemed impossible to win. The enemy had struck faster than human eyes could follow, breaking bones, tearing through armor, overwhelming him. Every strike had pushed Reynolds closer to death, until he had stopped holding back, until he had let go of human limits. He had activated Revenant Overdrive, the final phase of his enhancements, and in that moment, he had become something else, something beyond human. The battle had lasted seconds. The enemy, so confident in its superiority, had realized too late. It was already dead. With a final strike through the heart, Reynolds had ended it. Now, as he stood over the body, he exhaled, feeling the weight of history settle on his shoulders. The war was over. But humanity's place in the galaxy had forever changed. The Council falls. Word spread quickly across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, the ancient rulers of the stars, had been defeated by humanity. Their fleets, broken. Their armies, scattered. Their greatest warrior, dead. Surviving Council leaders scrambled to sue for peace. They sent messages across the void, begging for negotiations. But Earth didn't respond. Not yet. Because the galaxy needed to understand something. Humanity had not just survived this war. They had won. The New Order. In the United Earth Assembly, President Elias Carter stood before a crowd of billions, his face carved with the weight of history. We did not ask for this war, but we did not run from it. We did not surrender. We did not break. His voice echoed across the broadcast. The Council tried to erase us, and now they come to us as beggars. They fear what we have become, and they should. The crowd erupted into cheers. Across the galaxy, new factions emerged, species that had once lived in fear of the Council, now rising up, inspired by humanity's defiance. Some worlds pledged allegiance to Earth. Others declared their independence. The old order was dead, and in its place, a new empire was forming. An empire with humanity at its head. The decision: mercy or domination. In a secured chamber, Carter met with his top generals, admirals, and scientists. The question was simple. What now? Admiral Sarah Voss leaned forward. We have two choices. She brought up a holographic projection. The remaining fleets of the Council. Scattered, weak, trying to rebuild. We can finish them off. End the Council for good. Make sure no one ever challenges humanity again. She looked Carter in the eyes. We could take the galaxy. Right now. Silence filled the room. Dr. Renzo Cade, always the voice of caution, spoke next. Or we show restraint. Accept their surrender. Become the leaders of a new peace. Another pause. Everyone turned to Carter. The entire galaxy waited for his answer. The future of humanity. Carter stood, looking over the holographic map of the stars. For the first time in history, humanity was not the hunted. They were the apex species. They had fought harder, evolved faster, and survived what no one thought possible. And now, the galaxy was theirs for the taking. He exhaled slowly. Then he spoke. We choose our own destiny. And in that moment, the course of history changed forever. The rise of the Terran Dominion. 1 year later, the galaxy had a new name for Earth. They no longer called it a rogue world. They no longer saw it as a primitive race. Instead, they'd whispered a new title. The Terran Dominion. An empire not born from conquest, but from survival. Not from fear, but from unbreakable determination. A force that had stood against extinction and refused to die. a power that would shape the future of the stars. And at its heart, humanity stood stronger than ever before. Because in the end, they were never meant to kneel. They were meant to rise.